Hello there, I hope you have been well since our last encounter and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here and for sticking through. We are still journeying on the aspirant's journey, and today we are at home. I am at home also. This is Olkeri Ward and my aspirant is from Olkeri Ward. He prides himself as an entrepreneur and a community leader. We shall get to know him a lot better once he introduces himself. Thank you for coming to the show and welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's an honor and pleasure to be here today, this morning, to speak to the people of this great ward of Olkeri, and also to resonate with them on the kind of leadership that they need moving forward.
You'd like to introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you grew up. That is what we'd like to know you more as.
I'm Stephen Ngatho Kinuthia, that is my name, and I dwell here in Olkeri. I was born here in Olkeri and brought up here. I schooled at Matasiani Primary School, then advanced to my secondary school, A-levels at Matasiani Secondary School. I also then advanced to the tertiary education in the College of Insurance, whereby I got my certificate and also pursued my diploma in insurance, fundamentals of insurance and general insurance practice.
Okay, since you left college, what have you been up to?
Immediately I left college, I was employed in several insurance companies. I've worked with the United Insurance Company, worked with Blue Shield Insurance Company, and lastly I worked with Invesco Insurance Company Limited, whereby I left and opened my own brokerage firm.
Okay. So as we speak right now, you are an insurance broker?
Yes, I'm an insurance broker in this area. Far and wide, also serve many clients and corporate institutions in this country. Okay. And I can proudly say that I serve this great country of Kenya.
All right. So now let's get to community leadership. How and when did you get into community leadership? How do you immerse yourself with leadership?
In the last 10 years or so, I've been engaged so much in the community leadership. And first and foremost, I'm also in business and entrepreneurship in this area. I'm a pioneer member of the greatest circle of Matatu, which is Nanki Circle Limited, that was formulated in the year 2010. And right now we proudly say that the circle has grown and has continued to help its members to grow holistically and also financially. We have also been able to train them. We have also been able to train our drivers on road safety and many other matters that regard transport. And we can proudly say now that the circle is from a scratch. We have a circle that is stable with a capital of over 120 million as we speak.
So the organizational skills that you have gathered so far, are those what you're counting on to be a member of the county assembly?
First and foremost, I think we want a leadership that is resonating with the people and identifying with the people and also being able to solve the problems that are developing our people at the ground level and the grassroots level. Having engaged myself in the last 10 years with the electorate of this area, I'm very much aware of the stinching problems and also the key problems and areas that we want addressed. And I'm riding on the goodwill of the people that I've served in various sectors. And I've said I was in the formation of that Matatu Circle. I've also been the chairman of one of the biggest circles in the Anglican Church, Diocese of Kenya South, whereby I've served as chairman for the last 6 years. The name of the society is Ukristo na Ufanisi wa Anglikana Circle Limited. The circle, we have been able to work around and grow it from a membership of 22,000 active members to 35,000 active members. By then we had a capital of around 1.4 billion. We left the circle with a whooping 2.2 billion in terms of capital. So I've interacted in many seminars, many areas of leadership. And with that experience, I know I'm able to take the Olkeri ward the next level.
Yeah, because your background is a bit, it's finance, it's organization, and you have spoken about how you are aware of the issues that are affecting Olkeri. Could you like to point out some of them and the solutions as we speak?
Yes, I would broadly say that I've traversed this area. I've done scouting in this area, and as we were forming these institutions and also working with the people, we have also been able to identify ourselves with the problems that are here. Yeah, the biggest problem we have is unemployment in our youth, and with that, I think we are able to bring about maybe the tertiary institution in this area. We bring out colleges that are able to educate our children, and also the institutions that will be able to train skills in this area so that our people are able to depend on themselves. Apart from creating the formal employment, we can also create informal employment whereby while we are trying to repair the roads and also do the infrastructure in this area, we want to advocate that our youth be 100% involved in this kind of engagement, and that will be able to create employment for our youth. Number two, I've spoken about the infrastructure, and we know the key areas and the reconnecting roads, especially the dilapidated areas. We know the infrastructure drives the economy of any given area, and this way we are trying to see the key roads that need to be repaired, and we'll engage ourselves in that cause and make sure that we are able to connect our people to the markets, able to move our people fast from their destinations to their workplaces and where they do business, and also resonating with them on the priorities that are there in this ward.
When we speak about the budgets, we know that what the county avails for the wards is only 30 million per year, though that might change or not change depending on how you or who is going to be in power. Now, what would be the first thing you would do if you ever go to the county assembly in terms of bills and what you'd like to implement, what you'd like to see implemented?
First and foremost, I think the work of the member of the county assembly is resonating with the people on the ground and also reconnecting with them. The first thing I'll do when I go to the assembly is to insist that the leadership that is on board to be able to listen to the members of the county assembly and also to give them the resources that are required to be able to deal with the problems that are in any given ward. Yes. And secondly, we will also be able to bring bills that will bring a balanced equation in equitable distribution of revenue, so that every ward gets its rightful share. Yeah. And also we are ready to show integrity and also accountability in terms of the usage of the revenue that is given. We resonate with the people on the ground and understand the key problems in given areas, and we promise out of the 30 million that you are talking about that is given as revenue in every given ward as a ward fund, we'll be able to distribute this equitably in any given area in this Olkeri ward, so that we're able to deal with the key problems one at a time. Yes.
Now, as you were speaking again, you spoke about accountability. And as a person, one thing I feel that lacks is the channels of accountability. What will you do to ensure that you put up proper channels of accountability?
First and foremost, in the management of the ward fund, we'll be able to bring on board people of integrity in any given area, and particularly dealing with the community leaders, the opinion leaders that shape any given area, that we know have the integrity that holds, so that we are able to engage people. And while dealing with the issue of integrity, my CV speaks for itself, because out of the institution that I've served, I've never had any doubt in terms of integrity issues, and I know the people that we bring on board will do proper vetting to make sure that we are getting the right people for the management of the ward fund, so that the community around and the areas that we'll be serving will feel that the people who are serving them are out of question.
What would be the bare minimum of the committee or the people that you think will serve as your committee members? In terms of integrity, in terms of education, in terms of location, what is the bare minimum, what is the cut?
When it comes to leadership, I think we have several categories of leadership. And by resonating with the people on the ground, we would like all sectors to be represented, regardless of the bare minimum that we talk about, but also including professionals that will be able to guide even the layman in this journey. And first and foremost is to get the business people on board, get the professionals on board. We want to get all classes of people in leadership and make sure that we are getting at least to touch in each and every life in every given area of this world. So basically we'll have professionals, business people, we'll also have the low class people, but at least people who have the know-how and have the education that partakes. We may not give a strict bare minimum, but it will be a good mix of people who will be able to drive this world forward. Yes.
Now, anything that pertains politics, people have a culture, or people think that you cannot separate politics and handouts. And I feel that personally that is a problem when it comes to especially our youth and the jobless people around. So have you done anything so far to separate business and politics, or politics and the culture of handouts?
Yes, actually, that is what has been pulling me back to join politics. And I feel that people lack the correct readers because of these handouts and the cashbacks that are given and the kind of culture that is cultivated in politics. I think moving forward, our electorate is very much informed and they know what they want in leadership. And we want to give the best. By giving the best is explaining our agenda, explaining our policies and the manifesto we have for this great world, so that people understand us on those bases. We don't want to use money or give handouts or bribe people. We want to go straight. And integrity counts from the time of campaigning, the time you get in power. So we really terming that as uncouth and a bad behavior in politics, and we want to make sure that we are giving the agendas we have. Tuuze sera ambazo tuko nazo na watu wakubali sera zetu ili tuweze kutembea pamoja. The kind of leadership we want is people driven. People give us the ideas on the ground and we are able to implement them one by one and giving priority to the key areas that people need addressed.
So have you campaigned so far, and what has been the reception? Because people give handouts, politicians give handouts in the name of hii ni pesa ya maji, wacha nikurudishie fare. What have you encountered, or what is the nature of your campaigns?
The nature of the campaigns that we are driving right now, campaigns are not officially announced, and what we are doing is just talking with the people and resonating with them. We will go to their forums and we identify ourselves with them. We sell our agenda and our policies for this ward. And the reception has been very good. We want to thank the great people of Olkeri for the reception they are giving us. Having been one of the Matatu business owners here in this area, the reception in the transport sector is awesome. The reception in the church, where I'm also an elder, is also working very well for me. Being born here also and brought up here is also another added advantage, whereby people are also resonating with me very well, and they know I've schooled here, I've gone through the problems that the Olkeri people are going through, and that way I think the ground is resonating very well. So far so good, and we want to thank God for this far. Yes.
Now, watu wakiwa kwa ground, watu wa ground wakijumuika, most of them are organized groups. We have boda operators, we have women groups, some of whom have done many projects together, and I believe working with organized groups would be one key way to get to them. Have you worked with such, or what is your plan for such groups?
Thank you very much. I think for every politician who is a serious politician, you must identify yourself with these groups. And first and foremost, we have identified ourselves with the churches, which is also an organized group of people and the community around. the spiritual fraternity is also an organized group. And we are saying, especially for the churches, you want to bring a bill in this parliament if you are elected to this position to make sure that churches' welfare is well looked at. Because if you look at the community, the psychological and spiritual welfare is also very important, because to grow in a community, they must be well psychologically, their minds must be sober, and also they revere themselves with the godly ways and the righteous ways, so that at least we are able to curb even insecurity through the spiritual nourishment and the psychological welfare of the people. Number two, we have these groups, the groups that are formed through the self-help groups. We have circles, we have women groups, the chamas, and I can say we are targeting those chamas, and we are moving into them and resonating with them, discussing with them on the best way forward, and how the county can come in through the various funds that are there in the county, maybe through the Ministry of Cooperatives, the Ministry of Social Welfare, so that we are able to bring up these groups to a level whereby we also be able to be part and parcel of the vehicle that drives the economy of this great world. So we are working with the groups, we are resonating very well with them, and I think so far so good. We have very organized meetings, and the reception is awesome. We want to thank God for that.
We are in Kajiado County, and Kajiado County is largely a Ma county. And in this county, there's also patriarchy. There's also and the gender card, which is also very critical. In your leadership, what would you do, or what would be your comment on the issue of patriarchy, on the issue of tribalism, and on the issue of women and the two-third gender rule in the county assembly?
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, when we talk about the patriarch, I want to say that we are lucky in this particular ward and the larger county of Kajiado, because it's a cosmopolitan county, and Olkeri carrying majority of the cosmopolitans. So we have a balanced equation here, whereby we are resonating very well with other tribes that are not Ma community, and also making sure that the Ma and the indigenous, maybe the indigenous Ma and the people who have moved around here are working. We are preaching peace everywhere we go, and making sure that we advocate for peaceful coexistence of the residents of this area. The issue of the gender rule, I think, is timely, and even in the National Assembly, because we have also been following politics, is a key area whereby leaders are able to should advocate for. I advocate for equality of leadership, whereby every group, regardless of their social standing, is well represented in the leadership of this country. So we want to have a balanced equation, whereby everyone feels part and parcel of this great leadership. Yes.
Now, we recently just ended the 16 days of activism against GBV, and with the coming of the COVID-19, these cases have increased. So what would be encompassed in your leadership regarding to gender-based violence, not only against women, but against men as well, and the issue of mental wellness and health, which again has become rampant? What would be your comment on that?
Thank you very much. I think that is a very core question, and I've talked about the psychological and spiritual welfare. I think it starts there. That is where the journey starts. And by nourishing the people first, spiritually, they're able to understand themselves and to know exactly the kind of life they want to live. Number two, the issue of gender-based violence in both men and women. I really advocate that this is something that is overtaken by time in this 21st century, and we are saying this must stop and must be brought to a complete stop. And the measures that we put in place, first and foremost, is awareness, because sometimes men are fought and they keep quiet. Women are fought and they come broadly shouting about the issue. So we want to balance this equation, whereby we balance where men and women, in terms of this gender-based violence, nobody should be suffering from such kind of an attack or that kind of an affair, we want to make sure that we are bringing in counseling centers whereby maybe we can use chief barazas, any kind of community and residents meeting to sensitize people and tell people this is a vice that should not be in this society of the Olkeri ward, and also far and wide in this country. We want to advocate for proper living, whereby people coexist, families are living together well, and the best families are founded on the word of God. That's why we are going back to the churches and making sure that the churches are also playing a role, the community leadership, and also supporting the activism against such kind of vices. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, while at it, again, we are living in Kajiado, and there are cultural practices that should not exist in 2021. You're talking about the cut, and also teenage pregnancies, again, which is a menace, and also youth are languishing in alcohol and drug abuse. What will your office do to try and curb such vices?
Thank you very much. I think the issue of FGM is also overtaken by events, overtaken by time, and it's a cultural practice that should not stand the test of time. Yeah. So I think we'll advocate through registration. We'll make sure that that is abolished, and we can bring those bills in Parliament, in the County Assembly, to make sure that we also lobby with the parliamentarians and the local leaders, and also the elders, because this is much engraved in the interiors of this county, to make sure that those vices are not happening, or those practices. And people should be educated continually and informed continually of the kind of practices. Also, in terms of health, the hazards that they're exposing the community to through those kind of practices, so that everyone is able to understand and to come to a conclusion that this is something that should be happening, whether it's cultural or not. Maybe something better out of the culture. We are not saying we are fighting culture in any way, but we want to bring the best practices in culture that add value to the community, not that degrade the value or degrade the level of women in this country. Okay. Yes.
And
the issue of
teenage pregnancies.
Yeah. I think the issue of sanitization and making sure that education is mandatory for each and every child, because this is a fundamental right. Education is a fundamental right for each and every child, and we'll make sure that we are sensitizing through the administration of this ward and the larger Kajiado County, that every child who has clinched the age of going to school, they are able to mobilize and make sure no child is being molested to remain at home and do the chores at home or do child labor. Rather, we want children to go to school, so that we continually keep informing our people and making sure that they are understanding. We also want to do provide counseling centers, whereby we have said even in those chief barazas, the resident meetings, whereby those children are called and brought on board to be able to counsel them, educate them, and inform them, so that they are able to see the meaning of education. The parents and the men who are doing it to impregnate young girls, I think this is a vice that should be fought with the strongest terms possible, so that to make sure that our children live the proper living and also are able to come up as people who can help this country, so that the economy of this country will be based on the people who are educated and people who are informed and people who know what is expected of them. I think for drugs, I think this we have started, and we have seen the menace the drugs are causing to our youth. This is something that people should open both eyes and be able to look at it in the best way possible and address it. First and foremost, we know drugs come from a certain source. Yeah. And this has been the greatest menace in this country, whereby even the national government is still fighting with. Yeah. But my approach would be different, and I would say this. Yeah. I'll approach the youth through forums, through counselings, and advise them on the effects and the hazards that are there because of using drugs, and how they lose their livelihoods through drugs, so that they are able to understand that the use of drugs is actually killing the society and finishing the society. We are saying the youths are the leaders for today. And as a youth, I've brought myself forward, I've fronted myself so that I'm able to give the best that I'm able to give, because my greatest support is the youth and our parents and our mothers. But I want them to see a face of leadership that will be able to change the livelihoods. Myself, I'm a family man, and by the grace of God, I'm trying my best to keep my family intact and to make sure that things are working well for my family, so that I can be a role model to these young men. By educating them on the hazards that are there in using drugs and the way they kill their livelihoods, I think gradually we'll be able to remove them from that menace of using drugs. Those who have been become addicts by using drugs, we'll advocate to maybe from the county level to build a rehabilitation center in this Olkeri ward, whereby we'll be able to resuscitate the people who are already in drugs, so that they are able to become useful members of this society. I think this is something that would give all the energy, because the future of this country is dependent on the youth. And if we have a youth that is already saturated by drugs, we may be talking of a very, very big problem in the future.
All right, so I'd like you to talk about the youth agenda that you have for the great people of Olkeri Ward.
Thank you very much. In the business that I'm doing, I have established a modern car wash, and I've supported very many youth through that car wash.
What is a modern car wash?
I have a modern car wash that a modern car wash is a car cleaning facility that has all the essentials of cleaning a car. Name it, the interior wash, the buffing, the vacuuming of the vehicle, underwash, and also the engine wash. A center whereby if you bring your vehicle is holistically cleaned and leaves sparkling clean. And that facility is able to hold over 100 vehicles at a given time as we clean them and we release them. So I've supported very many youth through that venture, and I'm envisioning a scenario whereby if you're able to build more through the county level and maybe lease lands that are idle, and make sure that we are supporting our youth. Number two, we in the transport sector, we are bringing on board new members, and we want to keep supporting our youth so that they are able to be good drivers and good conductors. And also the service providers at the given stages, we are still employing more. So that is one of the visions that I have for the youth. And also we have the tree planting facilities, maybe in the area of the Kuruki and Upper Matasia. We have beehive keeping because we have a lot of trees in the footsteps of the Gong Hills, whereby the Upper Matasia residents can also benefit. We have also projects that we can bring on board, and the tertiary institutions that are able to bring skills and support the youth. So I really want to anchor my manifesto to support the youth, because if we support the youth, we know we have sorted the issue of insecurity in this area, we have sorted the issue of drug abuse, and that we will have a very cohesive society.
You know, there's the MCA, there's the MP, and we are all representing, they are all representing one people. What is the importance of working together? Say you're an MCA, you have an independent docket, yes, but the MP has also an independent. To the best interest of the people, what would be working, and what would be the message of working together for the good of the people?
Thank you very much for that question. I think first and foremost, the most important thing is to resonate with the leaders that you are working with, and in the different positions that they are holding. You identify yourself as a leader who is able to reason with others, and also be able to solve the problems that are beyond your office, the independent office. And what I've done myself is I'm working with the aspirants whom I'm seeing have a probability of clinching their seats. And the people who are in the gubernatorial position, the people who are also in the MP's position, who are aspiring for the seat of Kajiado North and also the Kajiado County. And God willing, if we are able to work as a duo, I think things will be very easy because we have been helping each other even when meeting these groups and meeting the people to us before campaigns come on board. I think we'll be able to bring the best leadership. And resonating with the leaders is having a good rapport with all of them. Let you be understood from on the onset. Show your leadership skills with them, work with them, resonate with them, so that when you have a particular area that you need addressed by the MP, you don't have a big problem. When you have a particular area that you want addressed by the governor, you don't have a problem. Even at the top seat, the presidency, you also incline yourself and position yourself well so that you're able to solve the problems of your people gradually. Yes.
Now, I assume, or from the posters I've seen you put online, is that you're already aligned to a certain particular party. Not that the color of my coat has anything to do with them, but would you like to tell us that?
Okay, thank you. I know UDA is yellow, United Democratic Alliance is yellow. I don't know your position, but maybe with the time.
Actually independent.
Yeah. I think I've listened to the grassroots levels. I've listened to the residents and the electorate of this area. And the party that I've chosen to ride on has a big rapport on the ground. And we are not running to lose this position. We are not running to lose this MCA seat. We are running to clinch it. And we have faith in God. And whatever you confess with your mouth, it manifests in the kingdom of God. So we are ready and willing to work with the electorate. But apart from the party, I'll also advise the people of this area to look at the leader they want to elect and the kind of qualities and the policies he's bringing on board to make sure all the people of this great ward get the services they require from the county level. Thank you.
Yeah. I noticed, apart from being sharply dressed and dressed like Mheshimiwa himself, all through the interview you've had that stuff. Does it symbolize anything?
Yes, you know we are in Kajiado County and in Ama community and Marland.
Yeah.
And this stick symbolizes leadership, and that's why I'm carrying it with me. Yes.
So Olkeri ward is such a big ward, and it has the most population, to the best of my understanding. I think there are more than 30,000 voters. Now I'd like you to look at that camera straight in the eye and talk to the people all the way from Nalepo to Ngoroi.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd like to greet the great people of Olkeri ward and tell them that I love them so much because of the reception that we have had in the recent past as we have been walking through and resonating with the people and meeting the people to us. And as I've been working with them in the last maybe 15 years. I want to particularly thank them for giving me the position to serve them and giving me that chance also to show my leadership to them and also to work with them. And basically what I would say is that as Olkerians, we are really crying to get a leader at the ward level. And I've offered myself not as the best candidate, but a leader who will resonate with the people so that we are able to work with the people, for the people, and by the people, so that we make sure that people are getting the best services that they require. I'm offering myself for this position of the member of the county assembly for this great ward. And the great people of Olkeri, from Nalepo down to Nkoroi, Merisho, the Olkeri itself, Matasia, Kahara, the Upper Matasia, the people of Bondeni and Rekuruki, I want to particularly humbly request you to support my bid so that you're able to work together and work together. I'm not a leader who will not read from the front. I'll read from the front, but I'll resonate with the people so that you're able to lead together. I'm just asking for that position kindly and humbly so that we're able to work together and make sure that we are making Olkeri ward the golden ward in this Kajiado County. Yes.
I really hope they have heard, and all we can do is wish you the very best. We have come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end. And remember, you can help me help you get the best candidate out there. And the only way you can help me help you is by subscribing to this YouTube channel, comment and give it a thumbs up. And remember, if you also know of any aspirant that you'd like to see feature on this show, you can also direct them to me and we shall look for them. Thank you.